You've likely heard of the persimmon, even seen it in supermarkets or roadside stalls. That orangey, almost tomatoey looking fruit. Gisborne is the country's largest persimmon growing region. The harvest is long wrapped up and teams are busy with pruning at the orchard where I meet Wayne Hall from Wi Pere Trust to learn more about this fruit.
So the backbone of Wi Pere Trust has generally been the sheep and beef operation, but alongside that we also have a high-performing horticultural business as well, which is involved in a number of different crops. We do gold kiwi fruit, we do citrus, persimmons, blueberries, recent introduction to apples. So a wide range of crops that we produce at Wi Pere across about 100 hectares of land that we own.
The Trust's diverse operation helps both protect against market or weather shocks, as well as provide for more regular employment in the region.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say we've all been subjected to a lot of challenges recently with the weather, with cyclones, but also just normal weather patterns that I guess the growers have to encounter and manage through. So really the driver for the Trust was really to look at a range of crops with a high focus on export-based crops that would deliver us potentially a lot better returns than we would be getting on the domestic market. And that sort of strategy was put in place around about 10 years ago. And we're driving that through at the moment and seeing some good results on the majority of our crops at the moment. Having a diverse range of crops, we've got full-time work for a large number of people, and that's now that we're at full production on most of our crops, we've got about 16 full-time workers. We top that up with casual labour where we need to at peak times. One of those times is over the blueberry harvest. We sort of need up to about 80 people for about 10 weeks. So we've had no problem attracting labour. We look after our staff, we make sure it's a good place to come and work. So it is a good plan to have a range of crops so that we can offer work all year round.
The Trust has also focused its strategy on high export earners, like the persimmon. I asked Wayne what brought about this change and why the region was so good for growing persimmons.
Yeah, the bulk of New Zealand grown persimmons come out of this region. It's particularly suited, it has a good climate, and the crop performs particularly well in this region. The only real challenge is really the weather sort of close to harvest, and if we do get wet weather, that throws out some real challenges as far as fruit quality goes for growers and marketers. Part of our strategy was looking at those export-based crops. Persimmons is one of those crops, so that fits that mould pretty well. It's not as high returning as the kiwi fruit, but it's certainly not far off it on a good year. So it is around about sort of 50% of the crop that we harvest would be going for export on a normal year. So at the moment we've got full production, 4 hectares of persimmons, but looking at possibly doing some more developments under tunnels, under some sort of protected canopy, just to mitigate that risk for us against the weather as we get close to harvest. So from a harvest point of view, we commence harvesting around about the end of April, early May in the region, and that runs for about 6 weeks. So fruit is just progressively picked for colour, for size, and submitted to the packhouse for packing for both export and also the domestic market. This season was a bit challenging for Wi Pere. We had a very good crop on the vine for persimmons, but we encountered a lot of wet weather sort of during harvest, and we had a bit of marking on the fruit this year, which made harvesting a little bit more challenging. The returns we hear are going to be pretty good this year once again. But we were sort of battling with a lot of the weather issues during harvest this year.
There is also growing interest in the fruit at home here in Aotearoa.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say persimmons, a lot of people haven't tried them. Domestically, there's a real growing interest for persimmons. I think the retailers are making fruit readily available when you enter the store, rather than being tucked away at the back. The pricing of persimmons at retail has come down quite a bit over the years, so it's becoming a good option for consumers as far as purchasing power for persimmons.
What are the kind of things people can do with persimmons?
Yeah, I guess traditionally the Asian population would eat persimmons soft. They'd be like a very spongy piece of fruit when they consume it. But a lot of Kiwis just eat them like apples. That's the way I prefer to eat them, and most of the staff would just eat them the same fashion as that. So as a crunchy, sweet tasting piece of fruit, a very high Brix level, so you'll get a very good taste of Brix or sugar when you eat the fruit. If you're into sweet fruit, persimmons is really number one.
Wayne gave me a recipe to take home and try myself. It's 1 from 5 a day, You can find it and other great recipes using your favourite fruit and veggies on their website, fiveaday.co.nz.
So we tracked down a great recipe for persimmons. So it's actually persimmons roasted with tamarillos and lemons. So what we like about this is all the product is sourced locally from Gisborne. So it serves around about 8 to 10 people. Pretty quick to prepare in 10 minutes, about 30 to 40 minutes for cooking. So it involves 7 tamarillos, halved lengthways, 5 persimmons halved, 2 lemons sliced into wedges, a teaspoon of lemon zest, some finely grated fresh ginger, some vanilla bean, a tablespoon of honey, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 50 grams of butter softened. So you're needing to preheat your oven to 180 degrees on bake. In a small bowl you'll add the ginger, the honey, lemon zest, sugar and vanilla seeds to the butter and mix well. So lightly grease your baking dish and add the tamarillos and persimmons cut side facing up, placing the lemon wedges around them, brush mixture on top and then roasting until soft for about 30-40 minutes. Great eating.
That was Wayne Hall I was speaking to at the Wi Pere Orchard in Gisborne. You might need to wait until next season to try out the persimmon recipe, but Wayne's right. Good eating.